We at South Aiken are always trying to look outside the box. And because of this, we wanted to bring in a student group that would help with code of conduct enforcement and rules violations. And to this end, we introduce you to the conduct enforcers.
Introduce me. Table. QB1.
Why you in the class, boy?
Cause I thought I had.
Cause what? Cause
You
what?
better get that. You better get
I'm in class now, man. Leave me alone, please, please, don't do that.
Hey, let me catch you in the hall no more.
Okay.
All right, cutting class. You know that's a no-no. All right? Cutting class here consists of being 10 or more minutes late to class, which means you're cutting class, or not even going to class at all. When you cut class, you'll be sent ISS and further consequences may follow. Again, we may see you, or we may have someone else looking out for you.
Man, hungry. You got lame. I'm not going. Hey!
Yeah, I know what it's like. You done had the chicken sandwich about a week. You done had some other food here at the school. Now you're ready to say, I want some Zaxby's, I want some McDonald's, and you want to leave. But we're responsible for you, so you cannot leave this campus once you are on this campus. Most of you all like to try to leave off this campus, this lot here. We got eyes on you. We are watching. Some of you may escape, but it only takes one time to get you. All right? So stay on campus when you're here and just abide by the code of conduct. All right, anytime you write an equation of a line, you have 2 points here. The first thing you gotta find is your...
Can I go to the bathroom?
Yeah, go ahead on.
What you on your phone for, boy?
Yeah.
Put your phone up. Yeah,
boy.
put that phone up, boy.
I don't gotta go to the bathroom no more.
Yeah.
All right, this cell phone here gets a lot of people in trouble. You have a lot of freedom with it. But you cannot use the cell phone during instructional time, which means when class is going on, even if you are not in class. I know that's where a lot of y'all like to go, to the bathroom, use the cell phone. So no. If it's during class time, you cannot be on your phone unless it's approved by your teacher for instructional use.
I got this one.
What's going on? What are you doing?
I'm just watching my phone.
Yes, and what did we say? Because I saw what you did. What did we say about using the phone like that? Remember we did you a favor this year? Do you remember that? What was the favor we did for y'all this year?
We can use our cell phones anytime we want.
Now you know that's not right, so I need to get your phone today. Thank you very much. We'll talk about it later this afternoon about what's going to happen. You good with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Remember, no taking pictures without other people's permission. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
We've given you all a lot of privilege this year with the cell phones, but they must be used in a proper way. You cannot record someone without their permission. So make sure you adhere to the rules and regulations, and understand your phones can be confiscated if they are used improperly.
That video right there just gives you an example of some code of conduct violations. Every single one of you should have received this book, the Aiken County Student Code of Conduct for the 2017-2018 academic school year. If you didn't, please make sure you do so. One of the main reasons why is because you will be held accountable to what is stated within this code of conduct. That video that we showed previously shows students holding each other accountable. Now, we don't want you holding each other accountable in the manner that they did in the video. That was done in fun. Or the code of conduct enforcers may be out there. You never know. Or you can never find out if you don't violate the code of conduct. But here at South Aiken, we believe repetition is the mother of all learning. And that is why we've spent the past couple of days going over the code of conduct in your classes. And I'm going to hit some high notes again right now. One of the definitions that we talked about is bullying, and I'll read it to you right now. A gesture and electronic communication, text, Facebook Messenger, Snapchat, Instagram, Kik, MySpace, something else, all that internet stuff y'all kids love, is considered electronic communication, or a written, physical, or sexual act that takes place on school property at any school-sponsored function where the school is responsible for the child, or on a school bus or other school-related vehicle in an official school bus stop, and that a reasonable person should know under the circumstances the acts will have the effect of harming a student physically or emotionally, or damaging a student's property, or placing a student in reasonable fear or harm, or fear of harm to his person or damage to his property, or has the effect of insulting or demeaning any student or group of students in such a way as to cause substantial disruption in or substantial interference with the orderly operation of the school. I read that definition to you word for word because I want everybody to understand that we take bullying very seriously here at South Aiken. It is not allowed. Once again, it is not allowed. And one of the parts that we want to make sure I hit again is that it can be of a gesture, electronic communication, written, verbal, physical, sexual, and it can be physical or emotional harm. Okay? Emotional harm and physical harm are two very different things, but they can have a very long-lasting effect. So please make sure that you refrain from bullying. And if you do not, you'll be handed per the code of conduct. And if you are a victim of some bullying, please make sure you let an administrator, teacher, guidance counselors, let somebody know that this is going on at South Aiken. Also, when we talk about dress code, if anybody who's been at South Aiken before knows, hats, hoodies, and sunglasses are my pet peeve. And I've confiscated plenty of them. But also, before I confiscate, I also give fair warning. All our other administrators also give a lot of warnings. We're going to tell you to take it off. We're going to tell you to put it up. But when you fail to do so, it does end up being confiscated. And consider this your warning. I don't want to take your stuff. None of the other administrators want to take your stuff. But when you violate the code of conduct and violate the dress code policies, that inevitably ends up happening. All right. Also, other inappropriate attire. The short shorts, the shoulders out, the spaghetti strap tops, the off the shoulder tops, the short shorts, girls and guys, because now I've seen this last year that there has become a trend where guys wear short shorts as well. So guys, you are held to the same accountability standards as far as the length of your clothing as the girls are. Everybody understand that? The holes in the jeans above the knee. Okay, all these things of dress code violations. The midriff showing. When I say midriff, some people don't understand what I'm saying. So I'll make sure I explain that. If your stomach is showing, okay, that is a dress code violation. How would you all feel if I walked around with my stomach showing? I know I've gained some weight. So make sure that you all keep those stomachs covered up. All right. Also, your level 1, level 2, and level 3 violations. Your level 1 violations are your basic classroom misconduct. Talking in class, sleeping in class, disturbing the class, things that your teacher addresses. Now, if you violate anything on level 1, it can end up in a lunch detention held with the teacher, could end up with a phone call home, could end up with a referral. All right. So please make sure you know what your level 1 violations are. And just a couple more of those level 1 violations. ID violation. We talked about IDs going out. All right. If somebody asks you to see your ID, you got to make sure you be able to produce it. And then the refusal to obey. All right. That's one of those things. If somebody asks you to do something as an adult in this building, teacher, administrator, staff member, they ask you to do something. If it is not a moral violation, a violation of your ethics, a violation of moral ethics, meaning if they ask you to do something and it's going to send you to jail, okay, then you need to follow those instructions. All right. The instructions they give you aren't designed to hurt you or harm you. Okay. So make sure you follow those instructions. Your level 2 infractions. Now, just so you know, level 1 can also move up to level 2. Level 1 can move up to level 2 depending on the severity and depending on how often it happens. Okay. Because if you're talking in class and the teacher gives you lunch detention, and you're talking in class, teacher gives you lunch detention, you're talking in class, teacher writes you up, you know what? That could be level 2 now. And it can be considered a day of ISS. Or it can be something else instead. All right. So level 1 can move up to level 2. All right. One thing I want to make sure I cover with you is fighting. All right. One of the definitions of fighting: fighting or instigating, causing a fight, including but not limited to videoing and or posting school-related incidents online. I'll read that one again. Fighting or instigating, causing a fight, including but not limited to videoing and or posting school-related incidents online, or is a major level 2 violation. Just because you don't fight, if you took information from one person to another and it resulted in a fight, that would be considered a fighting violation. So if 2 students get in a fight and you had just as much reason, just as much cause behind the fight happening, you will receive the same consequences. If you videotape the fight, your phone will be confiscated, your taping device will be confiscated, and you will receive consequences for that fight. If you go running to a fight, you will receive consequences for that fight. This brings up an example. Last year we had a fight near the end of the school year, and we had to cancel Power Hour for a couple of days. The reason we canceled Power Hour was not because of the fight, which I made very clear in the video last year. The reason we canceled Power Hour was because other students failed to disperse when asked to do so. The bell rang for kids to go to class. Didn't want to go to class. They wanted to stay and be nosy. Okay? All those things are considered instigating, and you will receive consequences as if you were fighting just as well. You don't like it? Tough. All right? So if there's something going on, please do not take out your cell phone and videotape it. We talked about that in that video just a few minutes ago about somebody videotaping somebody without the permission. All right? It's the same thing, and you receive consequences, and your cell phone will be confiscated the same way. All right? Your level 3 violations are the things that we consider criminal. That are considered criminal. If you violate, and it's considered level 3, we are required to alert law enforcement. I'll say it again. We are required to alert law enforcement. So please make sure you stay away from those level 3 violations. In order for us to have a safe and orderly learning environment at South Aiken High School, we must make sure that you all know what the rules are. And before we can make sure that we have a premier instructional environment, we must have a safe and orderly learning environment. And that is the purpose behind the videos. There's the purpose behind going over the code of conduct in class. We want to make sure that you all are fully aware of what the rules are. Because it's just like anything else. You can't play a football game, basketball game, soccer game, any game without knowing what the rules are. Same thing with school. When you come to school, you got to know what the rules are. Imagine me trying to play a game of basketball, and all I do is pick up the basketball with both hands and run down the court and shoot. I'm violating the game. But if I don't know any better, then I think that's just fine. But right now, we're making sure that you know what is and what is not allowed at South Aiken. So we want to make sure we have a great year. And that's the purpose behind all of this. You thought you were done with me, didn't you? Nope. Still got a couple more things I need to make sure we hit on. One is tardies. Tardies. I can't stress tardies enough. Because tardies is our number one violation here at South Aiken. It's the number one violation of just about any school you go to anywhere in the country. But that still doesn't mean that it is allowed. You must get to school on time. You must get to class on time. When you fail to get to school on time, fail to get to class on time, you are disrupting the learning environment. You're disrupting that classroom environment. And it can be considered cutting if it's late enough. All right? So your teacher should have gone over what is a lawful versus unlawful tardy. So if you got to make a McDonald's run, Starbucks run, Chick-fil-A run, Hardee's run, Walmart run, Dollar Tree run, any of those things, you are considered tardy when you come to school. Okay? And same thing once you get to school. We put in a warning bell. There's a bell that's going to ring 1 minute prior to the tardy bell to let you know that there's 1 minute left to get to class. So please make sure you get to class on time. Once again, please make sure you get to class on time. Getting there on time is the same thing as getting to work on time and getting to your job on time. It's the same thing. The number one problem, employees, if you ask any employer in Aiken County, they will tell you there are two things that they run into that gets most employees fired. First is getting to work on time. Second is getting to work every day. If you would get to class on time and come to school every day, we can work on a whole lot of other things, but we got to make sure we get those two things covered at all times. All right. Also, absences. When we talk about absences, we talk about unlawful versus lawful absences and the levels of truancy. Truancy, habitual truancy, chronic truancy. You are under compulsory attendance, which means you have to be at school. So please make sure you're coming to school. We don't want to go into those things where we're talking about being truant. We're talking about denying credits for a class because you didn't come to school. Make sure you are showing up to school every day and make sure you're showing up to class on time every day. Cannot stress those things enough. You can't learn, you can't get a diploma, you can't graduate without coming to school on time. So please make sure you follow in those rules. All right. One thing I failed to hit on just now, earlier, and it's very, very important, is South Aiken is a drug-free and alcohol-free school. We are a drug-free and alcohol-free environment. If you are under the influence or have in your possession drugs or alcohol, I want to make sure I make that distinguishment between under the influence and having your possession. You are considered in violation of code of conduct and will be handled as such. And those things are considered level 3, which again are considered criminal, and we alert law enforcement. And I want to make when I say I want to make that distinguishment between under the influence and having possession. If you have a shot of alcohol prior to coming to school, and you come to school and you are under the influence of the alcohol, you are in violation of the code of conduct. If you take a pill or any kind of thing of that nature, or smoke some marijuana before you come to school and you show up under the influence, you are in violation of the code of conduct and will be handled as such. And if you're under the influence, if you're in possession of those things, you are in violation of the code of conduct and will be handled as such. And one more thing, all those things that are considered level 3 are considered expulsionary offenses, meaning you can be expelled from Aiken County Public Schools. So once again, South Aiken, Aiken County Public Schools, Aiken County Schools, period, are drug-free and alcohol-free environments. Please do not bring those things to campus. Please do not use those things prior to coming to campus. And let's be honest, please do not use those things, period. All right? If you feel like you need to do those things, we have services in place where we can get you the help that is necessary. Because everybody here is underage and should not be in possession of those items. So please do not bring those items on campus. Same thing goes with cigarettes or tobacco products, dip, chew, snuff, cigarettes, cigars. All those things are violations as well, and will be considered tobacco violations and will be handled as such by the Code of Conduct. So please make sure you leave those items away from campus. Don't bring them to school. Don't come to school smelling like them. Any of those things. All right? Following up on those. When you come to when you come on South Aiken property, the stadium, the school, the front parking lot, you have entered South Aiken jurisdiction and you have consented to search. This sign is placed all around the school. And basically what that means is once you have entered school property, you have consented to search. You don't have to say, well, I allow you to search. Once you have come on property, you have consented to search. We have the right to search you. So, if you have anything that is inappropriate for school and we search you for it, and you say, well, I didn't give you my permission. Yes, you did. As soon as you step on this property, you have given us your permission. All right? Now, one last thing. I failed to hit this earlier when it comes to dress code. Sagging pants. Guys and girls, you are not allowed to sag your pants. And if you fail to do so, that is considered, if you fail to follow that direction, it is considered a dress code violation and will be handled as such. Now, to give you an idea of what our Code of Conduct enforcers can do about sagging pants, here's a short video. All right, everybody. That's all I've got for today when it comes to Code of Conduct. I hope you enjoyed the effort we put into it to try to get you to laugh just a little bit about some of these things. But again, the Code of Conduct is very important because our first mandate when you come to school is to make sure that you're in a safe and orderly environment before we can teach. So make sure that you're following all the directions that are given. All right, and we know sometimes mistakes happen. But we have to make sure that South Aiken is a safe and orderly learning environment. And all the things that we are doing this year are designed to make sure that happens. But once again, T-Breds, let's have a great year.